Hi there, it's Simone. I would like to show you what journals I used in 2021. I'm going to show you how I started out and then how I'm finishing this year. It's still 2021, even though you're probably going to watch this in 2022. So in 2021, I started out with two journals, the Hobonichi Techo 2021 A5 Day Free and the Hobonichi Weeks. I was going to use the weekly spreads for a memory keeping thing, creative memory keeping, maybe let's put it this way. Creative planning is not the right word because this is all what happened before. I did this in 2020 as well, and I would actually take out my watercolors every day and write one big thing for the day down. But for some reason, the approach changed, and I would do this at the end of each week. And it worked for a while. I started to use items that I had received in Happy Mail, and I really enjoyed the challenge of using a very limited amount of ephemera stickers, and so that is something that I really enjoyed doing. It challenged me to use the spreads in various different ways. So I started out with writing over on this side and then decorating this side, and then it turned into something like this, or even like this, where I would write over here and over here. It resulted in spreads like this, and I really enjoyed the creative challenge that this brought with it. However, since I did each spread in one sitting, I quickly fell behind because I did not have that amount of time each and every weekend. And so if I didn't have the time during the weekend, then I needed to make space during the week. Sometimes I didn't even have the energy or the time during that week, and that was very obvious during March when we moved, and I completely fell off. Something that was very impressive for me was that I did not feel guilty for not working in this anymore. That's a huge achievement for me because that is something that I often felt in past years when I wouldn't be able to keep up with a journal or a planner, especially when it was dated. I was able to give myself grace for not using it. I left the option open to come back and finish it out. I think this spread I did sometime during the summer. And then in July, I was very, very drawn to starting a gratitude journal, and I was thinking about what I would use. I was thinking about when in the new year what I would use for it, and then I realized that if I wanted to use a gratitude journal and if I wanted to do gratitude journaling, I should just start right now. I saw this and decided to repurpose this Hobonichi Weeks for my gratitude journal. And I did not set myself a time limit. I just started it, and then for however long it would take. And I kept up with it all through the rest of the year. So it is something, the way I went about this was super easy. After the first 2 weeks, I think, I decided, wow, this would give a great opportunity for all of those Happy Mail packages that I had collected throughout the year and did not use. So the only guilt that I felt was that after I fell off this memory keeping, I had still probably 20 little tiny packages envelopes, glassine bags with various different items from Happy Mail that I wanted to use in creating spreads, but I didn't. So I took the chance and started to challenge myself to use these Happy Mails and create a collage. I don't really know how you want to say this. Just decorate this right side of the spread, and then no expectations besides one sentence about what I was grateful for. And that is how I was able to maintain this throughout this time, because how do I say this? Because it is every day that I sit down, I'm not creating, I'm not decorating, I'm not using anything but a black pen to write that one grateful sentence down. I am going to continue this in 2022 because I have a video, so I'm going to link that up there. It really helped me to see the little things. Even though a day might be absolutely crappy, there is a tiny thing to be grateful for. It doesn't take away from the day being crappy, but it also shows me that even though the day was crappy, there's a small little thing that was good. This I was going to use as my creative journal. I wanted to put in everything. I realized very, very quickly that I put too many expectations on myself. This I started to do to just quickly jot down what I did every day so I could keep up or catch up in this Hobonichi weeks. Finished July, August, not, and then in September I fell off because this just felt like too much. I started this in January. I put down stickers here. I put my weekly reviews in here. Happy Mail, all the things I put in here. And sometimes I wanted to write more about something and I wasn't able to because I hadn't caught up with the decorative part. And so it became very stressful. Even though it wasn't dated, I still stressed myself with the expectations of how it was supposed to look, what was supposed to go in here. And so once I realized that that wasn't what I wanted, I decided to just stop. I even put down a sticker. It's time to let that go. There was still several signatures left in here, and when a book isn't finished, that really makes me feel guilty. So guilt is still a thing in my life, but the way I work through that guilt is differently. So instead of forcing myself to finish this book because it wasn't done, I cut out those signatures. This book is finished, and I probably will not go back to actually add in any of the spaces that I left because it is finished. So I took those out. During that time, I felt like I wanted to journal more, and especially using my fountain pens. But since this was so thick and there were so many bumps throughout the way, that didn't work. So what I decided to do is separate the things that were in here. I picked a notebook from my stash, smaller one. this is big like that, and a smaller one for a little bit more of a instant gratification, because this would not take as long. Like here, I was expecting to do work in this for a year. This I expected to work in for a little bit, but not all the way. So I started this, well, basically it's almost 6 months, but still, it's done, it's finished, and I can use and start another insert. This was just creative stuff. And then this was my writing journals. I repurposed the 2 signatures, or 3, or however many those were, and just used my fountain pens and some washi tape to write what was on my brain. I did not do this daily, but I did it multiple times each week. Every time I put in an entry, I would use a different fountain pen, and it was very enjoyable, even though often very negative. It was very enjoyable to use this to write. So this is what I started out with, and this is how it ended. I started out with this, I'm ending with this, but I repurposed this. And then in February, I added this book into the mix. At first, I was using this for my making diaries YouTube videos, but those were very time consuming. And again, I did not have that time on my hand. Since I'm doing this, I'm not getting paid to do any of the things. It's basically a hobby. And so I noticed that that was just not working for me. But what was working was reflecting on each week from a making perspective. So I called this my making diary, and I started to just write down what I did creatively, what filled my cup every day. And sometimes it's just film for videos, film emergency unboxing, finished letter for Allison. Those things, those were the creative things that I did, or that filled my cup. Sometimes I often went hiking as well, so hiking is part of the things that fill my cup, and those I put in there. And I used leftovers from the little Happy Mail package that I put in here to decorate the right side of these spreads as well. And these two, basically, as I said before, were my self-care journals. Helped a lot in making myself feel good about myself and my life. I started being more serious about Happy Mail during the year, and so I added a Happy Mail journal, which it's okay. So I would write down each friend that I sent something to and what I sent to them, but I didn't keep up with it. So I'm not sure how I'm going to use this moving forward. But what I enjoyed doing was just having a monthly overview, writing down incoming mail and outgoing mail. And so I already bound an insert for next year. I haven't been as diligent in keeping track of Happy Mail in December and November, but it is something that I very much enjoy, so I hope that I can utilize this in the new year as well, because, as I said, it brought me a lot of joy. Just seeing that my incoming, I would tally at the end of the month, in and out, and felt very victorious when my outgoing mail was more than my incoming mail. Felt very accomplished. This is what I'm still using. Currently, I have another creative journal right in here. It's a smaller handmade journal with various different papers. I'm going to explore how I enjoy this and then see if this is what I'm going to use moving forward, or if this is just a one-off and I'm going to move into something else after I'm done. And then this is my next writing journal. It's a Tomoe River grid insert from Paper Penguin Co. She has various different sizes, and since I noticed that I really enjoy the finishing a journal, I divided it into two, and so that I will be able to finish this sooner rather than later. And then in October, I was really missing using those tiny planner stickers and recording my day in a way. So I went ahead. I think I looked at this and I wasn't sure. Let's rephrase. I was thinking on how I could incorporate this style of planning in 2022. I had already purchased a planner for that, and then I looked through this and realized that I really enjoyed these inserts, that even if I was going to add more bulk, these inserts would be able to accommodate that, because they're not what are they not? These kinds of notebooks that have 1 year in a book, and so it wouldn't chunk up as much, because I would, first of all, it's less pages. It only contains the weeklies, and it only accommodates 6 months. So this will work even if it's getting a bit chunky. And so I decided, or when I opened this, I realized that even though it's not the same dates, but that I left off exactly the next week that was starting in October of this year. So I redated this whole insert for the rest of the year and decided to just try and see how I enjoyed it. And I absolutely love it. It is, again, I'm trying to not do this at the end of the week, but go in and fill it in every day, and just pre-decorate a little bit, and then fill it in with planner stickers and decoration along the way. So I do 3 things on the daily. Ideally, I do 3 things on the daily. It's filling in my making diary, filling in my gratitude journal, and writing 1 column in here. Of course, it will not look like something like this, but knowing that I could use a week where I'm so busy that I'm not able to create a spread like that is very soothing, is probably not the right word, but that's the only thing that I can think of. So I will be able to create spreads like this. Don't have to. I can be very creative, but I also don't have to be, if that makes any sense. So that is what I used in 2021. It was a really great creative year for myself, and I am planning on filming a video about the 10 things that I learned about journaling and myself in 2021, because this is all the result of things that I did last year, and maybe you can also gain some insight from how I approached my journaling. It was very different than before. I think before I was static, now I'm more dynamic, if that makes any sense. I am super curious how your 2021 went journaling wise. I know it was one of those years that kind of went by really fast, but also super slow. And that was quite challenging because of that. Felt like a repeat, and now we're entering another repeat. How do you keep yourself motivated? What do you do to not just dig a hole and stay there for the remainder of this pandemic. Nonetheless, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're recharging. I hope you're starting January with an open heart and an open mind. And yeah, I will see you soon. Until then, bye.